Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for joining us here on Emergency Management Associates. We're coming to you from the Area Command, 392 miles west of Kitty Hawk Beach, North Carolina. We want to join everybody here and welcome everybody here on our program tonight. Thank you for joining us, everybody. We're going to start off this broadcast as we normally have with the national anthem, and before that, the Pledge of Allegiance. I would ask everybody now to please rise.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Now would you make welcome, straight from Washington, D.C., the United States Army Corps Quartet.
Yeah.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
Oh yeah! Come on, folks, let them know it.
America's finest, the United States Army Barbershop Quartet, performing at the Barbershop Quartet Convention in 2015. The host of the Barbershop Quartet gave us a Pledge of Allegiance, and we appreciate that as well. God bless you, men and women of the United States military. We thank you for your service. We also want to thank the service of our allied armed forces, whoever they might be, this day and evening. God bless you all. May you all return home to your families in safety after your tours of duty end. And thank you again for your service. We definitely greatly appreciate it. God bless you all. Folks, we have a lot to talk about tonight. The first thing I want to talk about is the Highland Fire. The Highland Fire that's over in Riverside County. I want to bring this up now. I want to show you this clip and then I'll say a few words about it. I thought this was all set up and it looked like it, and all of a sudden it vanished here. Hopefully it'll come right back here. It was all set up. I don't know why it's doing this. Well, it's doing that. I want to talk to you a little bit about what happened overnight. The fire is not yet contained at all. It's only 25% contained at best as of this morning. Containment of the Highland fire grew overnight, but evacuation orders and warnings are still in place for some residents in Riverside County. The wildfire has stayed at 2,487 acres, 2,487 acres, according to CAL FIRE. Containment of the blaze is at 25%. CAL FIRE said full containment could be expected on or about November 8th, approximately 6 days from now. The fire broke out near the intersection of Highland Road and Aguanga Ranchos Road in Aguanga, North San Diego County, at about 12:45 p.m. on October 30th. The fire still remains, like I said, at 2,487 acres and is 25% contained. Firefighters kept the fire from spreading overnight and worked to cool hot spots at the fire's edge. Today, firefighters will continue building containment lines using heavy machinery around the fire. The steep and rugged terrain remains a huge challenge to firefighters. Relatively low humidity in the fire area and a predicted change in wind conditions could increase the possibility of hot spots along the fire line. Evacuation orders still remain in place. North of Riverside County, south to San Diego. North of Riverside County, south to San Diego County line. East of Crosley's Truck Trail. South of Cottonwood School Road. West of Sorensen Road. The following areas have been reduced to an evacuation warning. An evacuation warning only. North of Cottonwood School Road, east those homes and businesses east of Baker Lane. South of Wilson Valley Road, the areas west of Wildwood Lane, and north of the San Diego County line up to Riverside. Those are in the emergency warning areas only. Now, what have we said about emergency warnings? Okay? What have we said? Folks, I'm going to go ahead and cut this video off before it gets going. It's not, I don't want it interrupting our program. What have we said about evacuation warnings? We've told you all, if there is a chance that you might have to be evacuated, the best thing to do is leave. The best thing to do is leave. Don't wait for the warning to come down and tell you you have to leave and be gone. You need to prepare everything as if you're leaving right now. Put everything in your vehicles and get ready to leave. Don't wait. Don't wait till the evacuation orders come out. Leave. Get everything ready and leave. Go over your emergency management plans. Your emergency plans. Go over them with a fine-tooth comb. Make sure you don't leave anything out. That's very important. Make sure you don't leave anything out. That's why we write evacuation plans. That's why we write emergency plans, to make sure we don't leave anything out. Those of you that live in the Riverside County area around this fire, the Highland fire, if you have not already written an emergency plan, you need to do it right now. Include all those things that might be emergency orders for yourself. Anything involving any kind of emergency that might come up in your life. Write those things down. Write everything down that you want to accomplish. Write everything down, including the evacuation routes that you're going to use. Possibly even up to 3 different evacuation routes. Write all of them down. Mark them on maps. Mark the evacuation routes on maps. Second, Make sure you have a place to go. Make sure you have an evacuation destination, a bug out location. If you don't, you're going to be driving around futilely. You may end up running out of gas. That's one of the other reasons we advise everybody to keep a tank full of gas. Keep your tank full of gas. Okay? Make sure you have at least 3 destinations that you might go to. 3 different destinations, and also 3 different evacuation routes that you can drive on. Make sure most of these evacuation routes are not major highways. Major highways can be congested and go down to where nobody's going anywhere. Huge traffic jams, or maybe road closures or blockades. You don't want that to happen. If you can, avoid major intersections, major streets and highways. Take surface streets to evacuate. Make sure all those things are written down on a paper map. Don't even count on this being a possible salvation for you. Google Maps is good. However, if you have a fire or a tornado or a hurricane, your cell towers may go down. If you don't have cell towers, this little radio you have here, this little cellular telephone radio you have here, will be useless. Don't count on this, and just be glad that you might have it if it does work. That's why I always tell everybody, make sure you have a paper map and get used to following map directions. I know a lot of people don't like to follow maps. I know a lot of people don't like to follow directions either, but this is imperative. This is imperative for your safety. Don't take the chance that something might happen to you by not following the information guidelines that I'm giving you tonight, and that I've been talking about for a very, very long time. Okay? Make sure you have an emergency preparedness plan covering any kind of emergency that might happen, including wildfires. And water. Make sure you have plenty of water. Make sure you have plenty of food. We tell people about having food storage. Food storage is optimal. Some people have the ability, as I have had, of getting survival food. Survival food is a good thing to have. Do what you can to provide for your family. Do what you can to provide for your family. Make sure you have an evacuation or emergency supply kit as well. Make sure you have an emergency supply kit as well, including everything, including prescription drugs and any other medical supplies that you might need, feminine hygiene products, clothes, and various things each of you might need, and also your pets. Do not forget your pets. Yesterday we showed a video where people were taking their farm animals, their large farm animals, to an emergency evacuation center for their animals. Sheep and goats and horses and cows. Don't forget those. Don't forget your dogs and cats, your birds, whatever you have. I never want to ever find another pet burned, dead, because they were treading water and finally drowned. I don't want to ever have that happen again. Take your pets with you. Take your pets with you. They are your children. They are your family. They depend on you as you have depended on them for love and companionship. Don't take a chance on losing them. I'm just telling you now. Don't take that chance. Take them with you. They deserve your love and attention. During an emergency, they become confused and agitated. Don't let them be alone. Don't let them be afraid because you've done something stupid. And I call it very stupid. Don't do it. Whatever you can do, do it. And take them with you, just as you would your blood relative family. Don't take the chance on leaving them behind. You will regret it, I promise you. Now, I wish we had had that video. I was looking forward to playing it for you. There's a lot of good information there. Does anybody have any questions about the Highland Fire? I'm very familiar with the territory. I've been there many times. Okay? Canadian Patriots here, I appreciate him here as well. He says here in the chat, the time you're prepared for is now, brothers and sisters. Be aware of your surroundings at all time and keep your wits about you. That is good advice. That is very good advice. Okay, since you guys don't have any more questions about that, I'm going to continue this presentation tonight. One of the first things I want to talk about is a very strong earthquake. This was a 5.7 earthquake off the coast of the, oh gosh, what was the name of that town? Off the coast of Hernani, Philippines. And I know I just butchered that. Hernani is spelled H-E-R-N-A-N-I, Philippines. Okay? This happened just after 2 a.m. this morning. Okay? 2 a.m. this morning. This was 12.5 miles offshore. 12.5 miles offshore. Now, something is very suspicious here. Something is very suspicious here. There's been only one felt report. Only one felt report. 12.5 miles offshore. Yes, some of the seismic energy from any earthquake can be absorbed by the ocean water around it. This was close to shore. There are villages of people in these islands here. I understand some of the other islands were further out, but this main island where this hit had villages there, and yet there's only one felt report. Now, this could be because people don't have internet access. I understand that. But folks, this was a strong enough quake where it could have done some damage on that island. This was a strong enough quake where it could have done damage. And I'm just telling you this. Okay? This is not good. This is not good at all. This was the strongest quake today. There's other earthquakes as well. Okay? There's a lot of 5s going around. There's a lot of 5.0s all over the world. We're going to touch on that right now. I want to make sure everybody is aware of what's going on. Okay? It's necessary to understand where you are and what is happening around you. As Canadian Patriot tells us, keep your wits about you. Know what's going on at all times. Okay? Keep your heads on a swivel. That way, you're going to be able to perform at optimum performance. It's only for your good and the good of your family around you. A lot of things are happening. Okay? I'm just telling you, there's a lot of things happening. Over here is that 5.7 earthquake. Okay? Look where it's at. It's on that great big huge tectonic plate running up and down the coast of the Philippines, coming out of Indonesia, headed up towards Taiwan. It's a tectonic plate, an earthquake superhighway. Seismic energy coming out of Indonesia feeds through this general area. You can almost be guaranteed if an earthquake originated over in Indonesia, it's going to end up here in the Philippines. It's just going to happen. As you can see south of that earthquake, we have a 4.5 moderate quake. A 4.5 moderate quake. This is 5 miles east-southeast of Santa Monica, Philippines. Santa Monica, Philippines. Okay? Just 5 miles east of Santa Monica, Philippines. Okay, look at that. Just barely offshore. People there may have felt that. Like I said, when it's that close to shore, some of the seismic energy might be filtered out by the ocean water around it. But when it's that close to shore, somebody may still feel something, whether it's a rumbling beneath their feet or stronger seismic waves. Okay? Off of Santa Monica, Philippines. Okay? South of there, on the northeast side of Mindanao, Philippines, the largest island of the Philippines. Okay? This hit an island here. Okay? Right here. Hit an island here. This is another that's that one. There's also one further south. There it is. This is near Ponta Gaitan, Philippines. This is also a 4.3 earthquake. A 4.3 earthquake here. This one is completely surrounded by water. Nobody felt this. The seismic energy was absorbed by the seawater around it. This is far enough from any land mass at all, so that nothing was going to happen because of this earthquake. Okay? Then we go down into Indonesia. Okay? Go down here into the Seram Sea, Indonesia. This is a 4.6 moderate earthquake here. This is 19 miles deep. 19 miles deep. This one here, this 5.7, was 12.5 miles deep. The one right next to it, 4.5, was 47 miles deep. This one here near Ponta Gaitan, Philippines, this was 82 miles deep. 82 miles deep. In the Seram Sea again, this is 19 miles deep. We go down here to Timor. Come down here to Timor again. The Banda Sea this time. A 4.6 earthquake. Okay? Timor's been hit with 7.4s. It got hit with a 6.1 yesterday. People felt that earthquake. This 4.6 moderate quake was 90 miles deep. 90 miles deep. This red earthquake just happened. Okay? This, folks, is near, or it's in the Solomon Islands. It's near Tulagi, Solomon Islands. A 4.5, 77 miles deep. 4.5 moderate earthquake, 77 miles deep. Look where it's at. Again, this is on a tectonic plate here. There are 7 different plates down here in the southwestern Pacific. 7 different tectonic plates, each one subducting under the other here. That's why we have so many earthquakes in this region. One tectonic plate subducting under the other here. Okay? We go over to the Tonga region here. Over to Fiji. Levuka, Fiji again. Levuka, Fiji. You might be getting tired of hearing about Levuka, Fiji. This is a very popular place for earthquakes. Earthquake here happens at least once a week. In this case, this is a 4.7 moderate quake. This is 336 miles deep though. 336 miles deep. A very deep earthquake. Now, while we're talking about this, we've been talking about a lot of other earthquakes near this same area all during the past week. We told you then those earthquakes were deep earthquakes and they would result in 5.7, 6.0 magnitude strength. Shallower, stronger quakes. That's what that 5.7 was over in the central Philippines today. I believe that was a direct hit from what we talked about from some of the earthquakes last week. Now, that earthquake we had down here in Fiji yesterday, folks, you need to be aware. That earthquake is going to generate a 6.0 earthquake. A 6.0 earthquake. And it could happen any time. Literally any time. Everybody that lives down in this region should be aware of that. All of you keep having earthquakes here. About a year or so ago, a lady wrote me an email asking me, Ron, why are we having all these earthquakes? It's because there's 7 different tectonic plates there. 7 different plates going on here. There's earthquakes here every day. Earthquakes every day. That's why this is happening. Now again, USGS is not showing any earthquakes in New Zealand. I can guarantee you there's about 10 or 12 earthquakes in New Zealand today. Look over here in South America. After a major 7.2, 7.4 earthquake hit in north central Chile the day before yesterday, no earthquakes were reported here by the USGS. I can guarantee you that there was 18 earthquakes here yesterday, regardless of what USGS said. Today, there's probably 20 earthquakes here in South America, up and down the coast of Chile and Argentina. Okay, down here to the south. This is one of the most southern earthquakes we've had here in a very, very long time. This is a 4.7 magnitude earthquake, a moderate earthquake. This is 9.6 miles deep. This is 163 miles west of Puerto Chacabuco, Chile. Puerto Chacabuco, Chile. Way down here. It's cold down here. Most of the time there's ice and snow on top of the mountains. It does not melt. That's how far south this is. Okay? Again, that's one of the most southernmost earthquakes we've had here in Chile. We go north here. This one is a 4.0 moderate earthquake, 30.5 miles deep. 4.0 earthquake, 30 miles west-southwest of La Ligua, Chile. 30 miles west-southwest of Ligua, Chile. Moderate earthquake. Further north, Atacama, Chile. This is another 4.0 earthquake here. 16 miles deep, near the coast of Atacama, Chile. Further north, this is another 4.4. This 4.4 is 16 miles deep. 4.4 earthquake, moderate earthquake, 44 miles northwest of Taotao, Chile. Taotao, Chile. And folks, it's not northwest necessarily. It's out at sea. It's just barely off the coast. USGS doesn't know its head from a hole in the ground. Let's go northeast over here. This is at San Antonio de los Cobres, Argentina. San Antonio de los Cobres, Argentina. This is in the top of the Andes Mountains at the border between Chile and Argentina here. This is a moderate 4.3, 135 miles deep. It's down deep in the earth. I believe this is down beneath the crust of the earth that we walk on. It's down beneath the crust in what they call the asthenosphere, which is where the plastic magma is. Okay? That's how deep that is. Okay? Now again, you don't see any other earthquakes here because they're too stupid to report them. Okay? I'm calling it as I see it. I'm just calling it as I see it. Linda Cummings says, Mr. Ron, looking good. Maybe date night? No, not date night. I just decided to cut my hair. I just decided to cut my hair. It's a little bit too short, though. Thanks for noticing. I appreciate it. Anyway, west of Argentina down here, out here in the South Sandwich Islands, we got hit again. This is another large 5.0 earthquake in the South Sandwich Islands. This is also 18 miles deep. 18 miles deep. Fairly shallow quake. This earthquake will make its way up the mid-Atlantic fault here within the next couple days. We should see this coming up here very shortly. We already have an earthquake in the central mid-Atlantic here. This is another 5.0 earthquake. 5.0 earthquake. Okay? This is a result of other earthquakes we've had down here in the South Sandwich Islands. This one's made its way up here. This is 6.2 miles deep. Okay, I kid you not. I kid you not. We keep getting these 6.2 miles, 10 kilometers deep quakes. Go figure. Probably because the agency's too stupid to put the actual information out. Honestly, that's what my opinion is. Okay? Look at Europe. Look at the Middle East. Not a dadgum earthquake here. Folks, there's over 300 and some odd earthquakes here in Europe and in the Middle East today. I believe there's even one in China today. It's a sad state of affairs when over half the world is not being reported on. Half the world not being reported on. I can guarantee you one thing. Over here in Iran, there are a bunch of earthquakes here in Iran. Afghanistan over here. Afghanistan. I can guarantee you that there are earthquakes there. I can guarantee something else. Right here, at the Turkey-Syria border, there's about 28 quakes here. 28 aftershocks from a 9.0, 10.0 earthquake that happened here just earlier this year. That's what happens when you have a major earthquake that has major destruction. Over 5,000 people were killed by that earthquake. Another 5,000 plus were injured. Property damages are in the billions of dollars here. Those people in Turkey and Syria didn't have much. They've been embroiled in wars for years here. Their villages were probably annihilated. A lot of people have been living in the streets ever since. It's a sad state of affairs. The Catholics and the people from the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints have sent plane loads and plane loads and trucks of supplies there. Other countries have also sent supplies. But folks, that is one impoverished area, and now they're embroiled in more war. More war. We've been talking about it for several weeks now, since October 7th. This whole area here has more warships, more rockets flying all over, taking out targets in Israel and down in the Gaza Strip area. It's only going to get worse. The United States now has 3 major warships as well as their tactical task force ships also in the area, including submarines. The Soviet Union is also said to have their warships in this area as well. Now China has also entered the fray. China also has warships here in the area. It's only going to get worse in the coming days. Tomorrow it's alleged that Iran will officially open up with a full-scale World War III bombing. They've said tomorrow will be D-Day for the United States down here in the Middle East area. Iran has declared war. Okay? We've been knowing that this was going to happen. We've known that this was going to happen. It was a matter of time. Folks, if you live down in this area, you better be prepared. Things are not going to be good at all. Things are not going to be good at all. There are reports that Lebanese and people from the Gaza Strip are now invading the United States on planes. They're coming into the United States on plane loads. Go figure. Go figure. Can't even talk. Sleeper cells coming in on planes. If it wasn't so stupid, it would be funny. But it's definitely not funny. I would encourage everybody within the sound of my voice, whether you are in Canada, anywhere in Europe, the United States, anywhere, get prepared for war. It's coming. Unless things get called off very quickly, and I'm talking soon. World War III is about to start. I'm not just shooting my mouth off here. I have sources. They're very reliable sources. It's being talked about in the media. You need to be ready. I'm telling you, you need to be ready for whatever happens. Okay? Keep your heads on a swivel. Be very safe wherever you go and whatever you do. Things may not go according to what our life plan used to be. You need to be ready for whatever happens now. Okay, this is not going to be fun. Not at all. Now, I'm going to go further here and talk about earthquakes. Over here in Greece, we have a bunch of earthquakes, probably 22 earthquakes here in Greece. We've got a handful of earthquakes over here in Italy. More earthquakes throughout Europe, including over here in Germany, Switzerland, and France. Germany, Switzerland, and France. We have some earthquakes over here in Spain as well. We've got a couple of quakes right here between Spain and Algeria here. There's a great big huge earthquake fault here in this body of water just east of the Strait of Gibraltar. We've had 2 large 5.0, 5.2 earthquakes just right here in this body of water just this year. Numerous aftershocks and foreshocks as well. Earthquakes happening here all the time. More earthquakes happening. Okay? Over here in the Azores, just southeast of Portugal. We have 3 earthquakes here. We have a couple more down here in the Canary Islands as well, just so you know. Okay? We go over to Puerto Rico. You can see the earthquakes here in Puerto Rico here. Okay? This one just northwest of the U.S. and British Virgin Islands here. This is a 3.7 small earthquake. It's in the water. Nobody felt this because it's in the Caribbean Ocean, Caribbean Sea here. Okay? This is also 21 miles deep. 21 miles deep. Down here in off the coast of northeast or southeastern Puerto Rico. Southeastern Puerto Rico here. This is a 3.0 small earthquake. 3.0 small earthquake, 6.5 miles deep, just off the coast of southeastern Puerto Rico today. Over here in southwestern Puerto Rico, the earthquakes here are aftershocks of 2 big, huge, major earthquakes here 4 years ago. December 26th and December 28th, 2019. 8.0 and 8.4 earthquakes struck here. Man-made earthquakes. Man-made earthquakes. Folks, right here. This is a 2.6 south of Indios, Puerto Rico. Over here, just on the coast, is a 2.3 here. Going north here, this is a 2.2. Guinea, Puerto Rico. Guinea, Puerto Rico. My friend Dominic lives here. He's captain of the Puerto Rican Police Department. Okay? Right next to it here, a 2.2. Okay? These are all aftershocks of those 8.0 and 8.4 earthquakes here 4 years ago. Up here north, okay? This is in the same location where we had a 6.3 earthquake 2 years ago when Hurricane Maria was hitting the southern shores of Puerto Rico. A 6.3 earthquake. Today, we have a 3.5 here in this area. Okay? Northwest of San Antonio, Puerto Rico. Same location. Where did it come from? It came from the Cayman Ridge here. The superhighway that we talked about 2 days ago, providing a lot of earthquakes coming out of Central America. That's how we get earthquakes here. Okay? We also get earthquakes because this is also the landing zone from the from the Atlantic plate pushing on the North American plate in a southwesterly direction. Okay? It's subducting. The North American plate is subducting under the Caribbean plate here. So we're getting earthquakes. We're also getting earthquakes here from the Cayman Ridge, bringing them east from Central America. That's happening. That's happening. Okay? You don't see any earthquakes here in Mexico because USGS has chosen in its ultimate wisdom not to say anything about any of the earthquakes. However, I'm going to tell you that there are 3s and 4s in southwestern Mexico, and it's just the beginning of what could be a catastrophic earthquake here in southern Mexico. We're expecting a 5.8 to a 7.0 earthquake to hit here in southern Mexico in the coming weeks. Okay? Over here in Texas. Over here in Texas. This is in Poth, Texas. Okay? Just like Falls City down here. Falls City is just north of here. This is a 2.0 minor earthquake here. Okay, we've been getting small earthquakes and minor earthquakes down here. We've had a 4.0 here as well. This is a 2.0 here, 3.3 miles deep. It's over here in a huge oil and gas pumping operation. huge oil and gas pumping operation. Okay? Right down here south of there. There's one pump and jack, possibly more jacks there than I'm even seeing here. Pumping operation going there. There's pumping operations going right here. There's a pumping operation going right there. Like I said, this is an oil and gas field here. This is a huge oil and gas field. 3.3 miles deep, an oil and gas quake here. Also here near the same area just west of there, a 2.6 earthquake. This is 5.3 miles deep. Folks, this is also in an oil and gas pumping operation as well. There's a bunch of pumps and jacks just north of there. A bunch of pumps and jacks just north of there, and even south of there here as well. Okay? That's what's going on down there. Let's go up here. I want to tell you about this earthquake here. It's just a 1.7 tremor up here in Oklahoma. Good old Oklahoma. Tatum's, Oklahoma. A long time ago we talked about Tatum's. This is also 4.7 miles deep. A 1.7 tremor, 4.7 miles deep. This is an oil and gas pumping operation here in Oklahoma as well. North of there, also an oil and gas pumping operation. This is a 1.8 magnitude tremor here. Now USGS is not telling us where this is, but it's here in Oklahoma. It's also in an oil and gas pumping operation here. Okay, we have pumping stations, or plots as I call them, literally everywhere here. Okay, they're everywhere, spread out throughout this landscape. If the pumps and jacks are anywhere from 6 to 10 miles away, the earthquake is still considered to be in an oil and gas field. Okay, 586,000 pumps and jacks all over Oklahoma. 586,000 pumps and jacks all over Oklahoma. Okay, so that's what's going on there. We go further southwest over here in Texas, more earthquakes and pumping operations here. Stanton, Texas. Stanton, Texas. This is a 3.2, and this also is a 3.3 here. Ackery, Texas. Ackerly, Texas. This is 2.8 miles deep. Let me zoom in here. Look at the pumps and jacks all over this area. Literally everywhere. This is an oil and gas quake as well. That's Ackerly, Texas there. This is near Stanton, Texas. Okay? The same thing goes here, guys. Look at all these pumps and jacks all over this region. Literally all over the place, guys. Pumping operations everywhere here. Here we have a 2.9, 3.0 here as well. Both of these earthquakes in an oil and gas pumping field. It's huge. It's huge, especially here in western Texas. All over the place, guys. We go further west. This is at the border area of New Mexico and Texas here. Malaga, New Mexico. Oil and gas here as well. We go further west here. Look at this. This is a huge, huge earthquake swarm here. Oil and gas pumping operations, every one of them. Okay? This is a 1.7. That's in Toyah, Texas. This is a 2.0. 1.6 there. Here's another 1.6 here. This is a 1.5. This is a 2.9 here. Oil and gas pumping operations, guys. That's why these earthquakes hit. Oil and gas in the oil fields. Okay? That's what's going on here. That's Texas. That happens. Everything's bigger in Texas. Last night we talked about Southern California. Southern California is ripe for earthquakes as well. We told you about what's going on here. There's going to be a major earthquake hit here very soon. The area is ripe for earthquakes. It's going to happen. It is going to happen. Okay? This is up near Ridgecrest here. Okay? Look at the earthquakes that are spouting up here in the Ridgecrest, Mojave Desert area. Okay? Literally all over. What I pointed out here is a 1.0 earthquake in the light blue there. This red earthquake just happened. Just happened. This is a 0.6, Cyril's Valley. This is Cyril's Valley is 0.6 as well. This is a 0.8. This is just barely northeast of Ridgecrest, California. Just barely northeast of Ridgecrest, California. We go further south, or excuse me, further northwest here. This is a 1.8 in Little Lake, California. Little Lake, California. Okay? It's all over here. All over the Mojave Desert here we have earthquakes. Okay? We go further south. Bodefish, California. This, folks, is a volcanic area. Bodefish is a volcanic area. This is a 2.0 earthquake. This is 3.5 miles deep. 3.5 miles deep. This earthquake south of there, Arvin, California. Arvin, California is just north of the Garlock Fault. However, this is also a volcanic area. A volcanic area. Then we go southwest of the Garlock. Southwest of the Garlock. This is Ojai, California. Ojai, California. Just a couple months ago we had a 5.0 earthquake here. Actually 5.1. This is a 1.2 tremor down here in Ojai, California today. This is also 1.3 in the same location here. It's still rocking and rolling. Probably aftershocks of the 5.0 earthquake that happened here just a couple months ago. Okay? It's going to continue. Ojai is very active earthquake region. Got to keep an eye on it. Santa Barbara area as well. Okay? We go north. Folks, we have some earthquakes on the San Andreas Fault here. This is just east of Monterey Bay. Okay? This is Aromas, California. A 2.3 earthquake here. Okay? 2.3 earthquake on the San Andreas Fault right here. Along with that, a 1.2 in Gilroy, California. Okay? We go north here, also on the San Andreas. This, folks, is a 1.7 near Day Valley. Day, D-A-Y Valley, California. Just a 1.7 tremor here. You notice up here in San Francisco Bay, not reporting any earthquakes. However, just south and east of San Francisco Bay here, we have this earthquake in Tracy, California. A 0.9 in Tracy. It has nothing to do with the San Andreas Fault. It has nothing to do with the Hayward Fault. This is a 0.9 microquake on the Calaveras Fault. a very dangerous fault in its own right. So we have a 0.9 microquake up here on the Calaveras Fault. We go north. We have earthquakes over here in the Sonoma Valley. Okay? Sonoma County, California. Why? Folks, this is the geysers region. The geysers region. It's a geothermal factory here. A geothermal facility. I shouldn't say factory, but a facility. All over the mountains here in Sonoma County. Man has drilled into the upper magma chambers of this lake here. This lake right here. It's called Clear Lake. It's a volcano. Man has drilled into the upper magma chambers of this volcano to obtain steam to power turbines over here where you see these earthquakes. There's 80 different turbines all over the hillsides here in the geysers area. Every time we get some seismic energy, it finds one of those drill points. Finds one of those drill points where man has drilled into that magma chamber of the earthquake, of the volcano, to obtain steam to power those turbines to generate electricity. That's what's happening. That's what's happening. And what happens? Seismic energy finds those drill points, and all of a sudden we have rock fracturing going on. Rock fracturing going on at those man-made earthquake faults. Those holes in the ground. Most of these are 1 and 2.0 earthquakes. 1.0, 1.7, 1.8 tremors. 2.0 earthquakes. Occasionally we'll get a 3 and sometimes even a 4.0. Today, I believe these are mostly 1s and 2s, and that's all. Lucky for this area. We go north. Okay? Have a couple of earthquakes up here in Pillsbury, California. It's also a place where we have had earthquakes. Okay? This is a 1.5. This is a 1.3 tremor. Good old Pillsbury, California. Folks, this is also a earthquake fault up here. Earthquake faults are all over California. Okay? This is an ancillary fault. Okay? We go north here. We've got an earthquake off the coast of Ferndale, California here. Folks, this is just west and north of the Triple Junction. The Triple Junction is where the San Andreas Fault meets the Gorda Escarpment, meets the Cascadia Subduction Zone. The Cascadia Subduction Zone is that long red line there that you see heading north. Cascadia Subduction Zone. This is on the inside of the subduction zone, just north of the Gorda Escarpment and just northwest of the San Andreas Fault. Folks, this is another 3.3 earthquake. 3.3 earthquake here. Now, while that's a small number, very small earthquake, out in the ocean nobody felt it because the seismic energy absorbed the shock waves. Not too many shock waves at that, just a small quake. But that's what happens out here. This is just one more heads up that we're going to get a larger earthquake here. It's a matter of time. It's literally a matter of time. This is the southern area of the Cascadia Subduction Zone region. Okay? In the southern area of the Cascadia Subduction Zone region. Now we're going to talk a lot about the subduction zone tonight. Okay? First thing I'm going to do here, right now, this is St. Helens, guys. Just south of St. Helens here. This is a 1.1 tremor. 1.1 tremor in the foothills of Mount St. Helens. I'm going to show you some earthquakes in a few minutes here at Mount St. Helens. Okay? I'm going to show you some earthquakes here at Mount Rainier in just a couple minutes here. Okay? Right here, they're showing a 0.4 microquake here at Mount Rainier. Rest assured, there are many microquakes here. There's plenty of tremors. There's plenty of earthquakes here at Mount Rainier. I'm going to show you those in just a minute here. We go further north. This is a 1.0 tremor. Fall City, Washington. Fall City, Washington. It's a 1.0 tremor. Okay? This is 13 miles deep. 13 miles deep. Rest assured, there's a lot of earthquakes here that they're not telling you, any of us, about. A bunch. A bunch. Now I can show you plenty of earthquakes hitting here in the southern area of Alaska. A bunch of earthquakes. Okay? I will tell you this. Down here in the southern part of the peninsula of Alaska here, near Friday Harbor, down here, Alaska, where we have Semi-Sopokonoi volcano. Semi-Sopokonoi has stopped erupting. It has stopped erupting. USGS yesterday lifted the earthquake advisory they had. They had an orange level advisory. They put it down to yellow. The yellow possible eruption advisory. Semi-Sopokonoi probably won't erupt again for another couple of months. It could, but it probably won't. Okay? Just thought I'd let you know about that. Okay? But again, let's go back over here to the Pacific Northwest. Instead of looking at the map, why don't we look at seismograms? Good old seismograms. I just love seismograms, don't you? We just love seismograms because we can find all kinds of earthquakes in this area. We can invalidate what USGS or Pacific Northwest Seismic Network has said, because heaven forbid they don't have what it takes to tell the truth about much of anything. Plain and simple. This particular seismogram right here, this is at Mount Baker. Mount Baker is a volcano that is just south of Canada in North Washington State. I'm going to show you several seismograms here at Mount Baker. Okay, it's 8 o'clock. We've been on the air an hour. I won't take much time going over a ton of stuff, but you need to see what's going on. Mount Baker is a very active volcano. Very active volcano. Okay, I first want to give Richard Lyles a thank you. Richard Lyles gave us a $10 super chat here just a short time ago. We appreciate that. God bless you, Richard, for that super chat. We do appreciate all of your support here. A lot of price gouging has gone on by our electrical provider and also our internet provider here as well. Our electricity has doubled from what it was a year ago. Most of you probably have seen the same thing. Our internet price has almost also doubled in price. Now, we've got a high-speed internet connection so we can put on this program for you. And we appreciate all of you helping to support that. God bless you for that. Anyway, getting back to this earthquake here. Okay, it's a big deal. There are a bunch of earthquakes. We also have a bunch of tremors here. Now, something interesting here that you need to know about. Okay, this is crazy. This is really crazy, guys. I kid you not. Let's look at this very closely. Okay? Down here near the bottom of this seismogram, right here in the red, looks like a tiny rectangle, doesn't it? Okay? Folks, this is called a magma churn signal. A magma churn signal. Magma churn signals are generated on the seismogram when superheated magma goes into the volcano. That's when we see these magma churn signals. In this case, you need to also know that the magma churn signals are usually 23 to 24 lines high. In this particular case, it's not. It's not. It's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 lines high. 5 lines high. It's just about 1/5 of what it should be. That means the seismologist turned this seismograph so far down that it's just barely registering information here. Just barely registering information. Now you can see some tiny vertical lines here. If you look closely, you might see a dot in the middle of one of those tiny vertical lines. If you don't see a dot, that means there's probably a steam signal going on. A steam signal. Now, what is going on with this red vertical line here? Look closely at this. That red vertical line here is a steam signature. It was a large steam signature here because the steam signature had to work its way through the electronics of the seismograph to be able to show up here. And this is a rather long steam signature, comparatively long steam signature. So this was a very strong steam signature. It even has a curlicue here. Tiny steam signatures, you can't find a curlicue because it doesn't generate it, because they're too small. But this one has a curlicue on it. So this entire signature here, it's several of them, back to back. Steam signatures here. Mount Baker is steaming, guys. My gosh, it's a volcano. That's a good sized steam signal for the first time in a long time that we've seen. Okay? USGS and the Pacific Northwest Seismic Network hide this information. Over here we have the same thing. This time it's on the black line. Okay? This is a steam signature here as well. Okay? Up at the top of this. Up at the top of this seismic signal or seismogram here. Okay? Steam signatures. Steam signatures. We don't have any earthquake signatures here at all. The machine has been turned so far down it doesn't show the earthquakes, but we're getting steam signatures here because the steam is out. Huge amount of steam here. That's what these large steam signatures indicate, that there was large amounts of steam jettisoned from the volcano. That's what we're seeing here. Okay? Wanted to make sure that everybody knew what was happening. Okay? I think it's important. Okay? We usually don't get to see this at Mount Baker because they hide the information. But today, we had that magma churn signal, and this just proves that they turn the electronics down so that we can't see the information. But frequently, the events are so large it forces the seismograph to show the information. That's what happened here. The steam release from the magma was so great that it had to break through the electronic turndown. And that's what happened here. Okay? Now, just so you know, let me give you a little indication of how steam exits a volcano and why it does. 6 to 7% of all magma is water. 6 to 7% of all magma is water. What happens? Okay? The magma comes from underneath the volcano and is hammering away at the plug at the volcano. Every volcano has a plug at the summit, a great big huge solidified lava rock after the last eruption. That lava cooled and it became a plug in the top of the volcano. Now we have magma hammering away underneath that plug, smacking it over and over and over again. When that magma smacks that lava rock plug here, that plug develops fissures in it, holes from that magma pounding on that plug. Once those holes develop to a certain point, it allows the steam to be released from the superheated magma underneath that plug. 2,500 degrees, upwards of 5,000 degree magma down there. And 6 to 7% of it's water. So when that happens, it boils off from the magma. The water makes its way through those tiny holes in the plug of the volcano. Then we see steam being released from the volcano. That's what's happened here at Mount Baker. That's what's happening at all the volcanoes. All of the volcanoes, guys. Okay? I want to show you that. Now, let me show you several other seismograms here from Mount Baker. You deserve to know what's happening. Okay, for the first time, we're actually seeing evidence of a lot of seismic activity at Mount Baker. On that particular seismogram, the scientists had turned down the seismograph. Turned it down so it wasn't showing anything. Well, folks, let me show you something here on this particular seismogram. Okay? This is from Schuckson. This is a ski resort at Mount Baker. Okay? This particular seismograph is a 7-channel seismograph. 7 different channels, 7 different frequencies that this seismograph operates on. Each channel is showing something different. This particular channel is showing VLF waves. VLF waves generated by magma coming into the volcano. Look how intense the activity is here at Mount Baker. You wouldn't know it from the turn down of that other seismogram. You wouldn't know it. But in this particular seismogram, we're seeing all the magma coming into the magma chamber of this volcano. The magma generates VLF waves that you're seeing here. This is a lot of activity, isn't it? Look at it. Almost the entire day from late last night. Okay, up at the top of this seismograph started recording the information at 5 p.m. yesterday afternoon. Magma's coming in then, but it got even more active late last night, before and after midnight. Starting about 8:30, 9 p.m. last night, it went crazy, and it stayed that way all day today. Look at that. That's incredible. That's an awful lot of activity at Mount Baker. Okay? At Mount Baker. Yet, they're not showing much, are they? They're not showing much activity on the other seismogram, are they? Let's look at this. This is a seismogram from that same seismograph that's recording information at Mount Baker. Okay? This is a Schuchsen seismograph. Like I said, it's a multi-channel seismograph. That one channel was showing magma coming into the magma chamber. This one is showing activity. Now these thick red lines, don't pay attention to them. Actually, the thick red, black, and blue lines. Okay? The thick lines don't mean squat. It's called artifact. Okay? The scientists are making the seismograph record this information. It's false information. Doesn't mean anything. Doesn't mean anything. These thick red and blue lines don't mean squat. Usually if we would have thick lines, we would see what they call magma pulse activity. Magma pulse activity, meaning the lines would be thinner, get thicker, and get thinner again. That's not the case here. Okay? They stay thick, and they got thicker. It doesn't work this way. Okay? If it gets thicker, it gets gradually thicker. It just doesn't become thicker all of a sudden like it shows here. It doesn't do that. These are false signals. However, the rest of this seismogram is showing pretty good information. Okay? Plenty of tremors and earthquakes hitting here at Mount Baker. Plenty of activity here. This is the kind of activity that you would see if magma was coming into this magma chamber of this volcano. This is a lot of seismic activity. This is the kind of seismic activity we're seeing on every seismogram 2 and 3 years ago. They continue doctoring these seismograms or not providing real information. They doctor the seismograms so they don't report true, accurate information. It's a sad state of affairs when these scientists do that. They're hiding information. Literally hiding information. It's a crapshoot. Okay? This is Mount Baker. Mount Baker. Let me show you another seismogram coming from the west seismograph. On the western side of the volcano. Look at this. Okay? This is the HHN channel. On that other, this is a brand new seismograph, guys. This is a brand new seismograph that just went active a couple months ago. But it's still turned down. It's still turned down. But we're still showing a lot of magma coming into the magma chamber here. Look at these VLF waves here. We're still showing a lot of magma coming into the magma chamber at Mount Baker. Regardless of where the magma or where the seismographs are, they're still reporting this information. It's great information. It really is. Now, that same seismograph shows this. This is the main channel of, I believe, what is a 5-channel seismograph there on Mount Baker that they just put up. Okay? It still shows a good lot of activity. Earthquakes and tremors all over here. All over. And yes, the seismographs have been turned down. So if we look at this, multiply those lengths of those lines times 2 or 3, and you'll get the full size idea of what these tremors and earthquakes are looking like. With all that magma coming in, with all the magma coming in, I just got through showing you on both of those seismographs, this should be a lot more intense than they're showing here because they've got it turned down. But we're still seeing a lot of activity nonetheless. That's Mount Baker. Now I want to show you another seismograph. This comes from Glacier Peak. Well, guess what? they turned off the seismogram, or excuse me, they turned off the seismograph, the machine at Glacier Peak. Image not found. Image not found. What's going on here? The last time the Glacier Peak seismograph was operational was on October 19th. What do we have here? On October 19th, and we showed you this almost 3 weeks ago. On October 19th, we saw a magma churn signal, didn't we? That's what you're seeing down here on the left-hand side. The rest of these are tremors and also steam signatures. If the line does not have a dot in the middle of it, it's a steam signature. If it has a dot in the middle of it, it's either a tremor or an earthquake, depending on the size of it. But here is a magma churn signal, guys. This magma churn signal is telling us a lot of information. Okay, this magma churn signal is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 lines high. This particular seismogram, guys, is 50% of real world. Actually, about 46% of real world at the time. The seismograph was almost accurately portraying real world activity here at Glacier Peak. Glacier Peak is about 40 miles outside of Seattle. Also about 48 miles southwest of Mount Baker. Okay? This is a volcano in and of itself. This was on October 19th. They've since turned the seismograph off. Go figure. So let's go over to Mount Rainier. Mount Rainier is very active, guys. It's very active. This is a seismogram coming from the USGS. From the good old USGS. This seismogram came active as of 9 p.m. last night. The top line here at the top was 9 p.m. last night. We're seeing each horizontal line here. Each horizontal line represents a 15-minute time period. A 15-minute time period when magma is coming into the volcano. Magma is coming into the volcano under pressure. When it encounters rock inside the volcano, it causes rock fracturing. Rock fracturing causing earth movement. Earth movement. The thicker the lines, the more magma that's coming into this magma chamber. Look at this. After 2:30 this morning, starting about 2:45, we started seeing more and more magma coming into the magma chamber. Possibly because they've turned the sensitivity up. So we're seeing magma coming into the magma chamber of Mount Rainier here. Well, I'll be darned. Look what's happening here. More and more magma coming into the magma chamber of Mount Rainier. And you see the vertical lines here on each of these lines? Those are tremors caused by the magma hitting the rock and fracturing rock inside the volcano. It's called earth movement, earthquakes. Okay? The more and more magma that you have coming into the magma chamber, the thicker the lines are here. It's no surprise what we're seeing here. Magma coming in, the vertical lines on each horizontal line has a bunch of vertical lines here, along with all that magma. Okay, the magma causing these earthquakes. Okay, That's good old Mount Rainier. I'm going to show you several more here. You're going to be blown away. At least I hope you would be blown away. I'm going to show you some seismograms from Emerald Ridge. Now, what you need to know about Emerald Ridge: the seismograph, the machine recording the data, has been turned off on one side of it. Turned off. The seismograph is no longer showing the spectrogram that shows the heat coming up from the magma here at Mount Rainier. There's two spectrograms here on Mount Rainier. One is here on Emerald Ridge, the Emerald Ridge seismograph. It's been turned off. Turned off. For whatever reason they do it, it's been turned off. But we're still getting data. We're still getting data. Just over on the southeast side of Mount Rainier, there is another seismograph located what they call Panhandle, located on the southwest side of Mount Rainier. Or I'm sorry, northeast side of Mount Rainier, right here. This is a spectrogram from Para. Okay, or Panhandle, I'm sorry, Panhandle. What we're seeing here, see the lighter light blue vertical lines here? That is heat coming from the magma. Heat reaching up to the top, the side or the top of the volcano here at Mount Rainier. Those are heat signatures. So you see the magma is superheated. Yes, the heat is trying to make its way out. Okay? It's interesting to note this. It's very interesting to note this, because otherwise you would not even see this. I'm sorry, I should have opened it up further for you. Now you can see it. Okay? Look at that heat of Mount Rainier. Okay? It's crazy. So you know the magma is coming into Mount Rainier here. A lot of magma is trying to come into Mount Rainier. Now, given that data there, let's show you something else. I want to show you Camp Muir. Here's Camp Muir. Okay? The seismograph itself started recording the information at 9 p.m. last night. Okay? It was turned down for the most part of the night here. Okay? But I think they turned it up, because all of a sudden this morning we have a pretty good accurate portrayal of what's been happening here at Mount Rainier. Okay? Look at the activity here, guys. This is undeniable. More and more magma coming into this volcano here. It's almost obliterating some of these lines here. So you can't even see the white of the papers at some points here. That's how much magma is coming into Mount Rainier. Look at these tremors as well. Look at the vertical lines on each of these horizontal lines. Horizontal lines are showing magma. The vertical lines are showing tremors and minor earthquakes here, as the magma is fracturing rocks inside the volcano, causing magma uplift in the volcano. Yes, increasing size of the volcano, in this case, Mount Rainier. Okay? Folks, that was Camp Muir. Let's show you Camp Sherman. Good old Camp Sherman here. This is Camp Sherman. Look at the activity here. It's unmistakable. Look at the earthquakes and tremors hitting here at Mount Rainier. Some of this earthquake here, this largest earthquake here at the top, it's a 2.2 earthquake. Look at this magma churn signal. Now we're getting to see exactly how turned down this seismograph is. Okay, the magma churn signal should be 23 to 24 lines high. This one, folks, is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. About 46% of real world. So any earthquakes and tremors we see, multiply times 2 or 3 here, and we get the actual sounding of what these earthquakes and tremors really are. Okay? You see a 2.2, 2.3 earthquake here? Multiply times 3. Probably a 3.5 earthquake. 3.5 earthquake. How about these other earthquakes? Similar in size, huh? Until right here. Until right here. Folks, I'm going to show you something here. This earthquake that you see here, well, it just disappeared. I'm going to bring it up here again. This earthquake that you see here lasts a full minute. It builds up from tremors, goes to a 2.0 earthquake, then reduces itself to tremors again, then builds itself up to a full earthquake again. Again, judging by the magma churn signal, okay, this earthquake was much larger than what we're seeing here. They cut off the bottom and the top of this seismic signature, number 1. They cut off the top and the bottom so that we're not going to see exactly how strong this earthquake was. But we multiply it times 2 or 3. Now what size do we have? Again, close to a 4.5 or larger earthquake. Close to 2.4, close to 4.5 or larger earthquake here. Look what we have out to the right. In this case, guys, we have steam signatures there. We're showing steam signatures, vertical lines generated after that earthquake. Normally we would see a secondary quake, a secondary seismic signal here, a secondary wave. This is not that. Okay? All we're seeing here, guys, is steam. Okay? At first I thought it was a magma churn signal. I don't believe it is. This is an earthquake. This is an earthquake. Last week at this time, I showed you seismic signals here at Mount Rainier. Several of them. Not just one, but several seismic signals. I showed you a 5.0 earthquake here at Mount Rainier. Judging by what we're showing you here, all of these earthquakes hitting here, and you can see them here, they are earthquakes. They're earthquakes. Look what we have here at the bottom of it. This is a massive amount of magma coming into Mount Rainier today, this afternoon. a massive amount of magma coming into Mount Rainier this afternoon. You can see it here, completely obliterating the paper that this was written on. That's a lot of magma, guys. A lot of magma. And with that, we've had some earthquakes as well. Okay? Last week we showed you a 5.0 earthquake here at Mount Rainier. You can't even ignore it. It's right smack dab in front of us. They try to cut it off and pretend it didn't happen. They have no clue. They have no clue, literally. And now we have another earthquake tonight. Today, this afternoon. Another earthquake. Lasted a minute. 4.5 earthquake. What do we know about 4.5 earthquakes in the Cascadia region? 4.5 earthquakes in the Cascadia region. Okay? What were we told by Terry Rempel? 1 or 2 4.5 or larger earthquakes in the Cascade region, the mountain region. It would be warning that a incoming Cascadia earthquake was soon to happen. We've had multiple 4.5, 5.0 earthquakes at the volcanoes here. It's a matter of time, guys. It's a matter of time. We don't know when the earthquake will happen. Okay? But judging by what Terry Rempel said, it's only a matter of time now. Only a matter of time. Are you guys paying attention? Please, somebody tell me you are. Okay? Otherwise, this presentation is worthless. It's not just at Mount Rainier. There's going to be an eruption of this volcano. But it's not just this volcano that's showing signs of a possible eruption. On our earthquake chats on Facebook Messenger, we've told you what we've seen at Mount Rainier and Mount St. Helens. Look out for an eruption of both those volcanoes. Folks, I'm here to tell you again, look out. This is East Dome, Mount St. Helens on the Pacific Northwest Seismic Network today. Excuse me. Let me get a sip of water. Look what we're seeing here. Look at the earthquakes here. This is very telling of what we're seeing here at Mount St. Helens. This is what we used to see at Mount St. Helens 2 and 3 years ago before they started messing with the seismograms. Okay, look at it. These are earthquakes, guys. These are earthquakes and magma coming into these volcanoes. This is East Dome St. Helens volcano. Okay, look at that. Earthquake after earthquake hitting Mount St. Helens. Okay? Some of these are pretty powerful earthquakes. Okay? 3.5, 4.0 earthquakes at Mount St. Helens today. Okay? Look at it. That is that is very impressive activity at Mount St. Helens. Let's show you Sugar Bowl at Mount St. Helens. Look at this. The top of it, they've got this seismograph turned down. Then they turn it back up. Yesterday evening they turned it back up for a little while and then turned it back down. Earlier this morning they turned it back up. What do we see here? We see a large amount of magma coming into Mount St. Helens here. A huge amount of magma coming into Mount St. Helens here. Okay? This is just Sugar Bowl, guys. This is just one seismogram. Let me show you a couple more. Okay? Let me show you a couple more. This is going to amaze you. Okay. How about I show you the Pacific Northwest Seismic Network version of their seismogram for September lobe. September lobe today, guys. Again, September lobe looks like something that happened here 2 or 3 years ago. Look at the earthquakes here. Look at the earthquakes and the tremors. Constant back-to-back tremors here. And corresponding earthquakes as well. Mount St. Helens is very active, guys. This is September lobe. The main channel at September lobe. Let's look at the VLF channel. The HHN channel at September lobe. Folks, I just got through showing you a very active September lobe. Look at the magma coming into this volcano here on this particular channel. This tells you that there's a huge amount of magma coming in under pressure at this volcano. Now we've labeled 2 different volcanoes with a large amount of magma, actually 3. Mount Baker, Mount Rainier, and Mount St. Helens. All 3 volcanoes look like they're about to erupt. Okay? Mount Baker didn't look that way 2 months ago or 3 months ago. It's getting to be now. I warned you last week about Mount Rainier. I warned you about Mount St. Helens, and now I'm going to warn you again. The United States Geological Survey and the Pacific Northwest Seismic Network should be issuing a volcanic advisory. They should be issuing at least a yellow advisory at these 2 volcanoes. Possibly even Mount Baker as well. Okay? That is a lot of evidence right here. The VLF waves here. Look at that. That is intense magma coming into Mount St. Helens as we speak. It's still happening. It's still happening. It calmed down a little bit later this afternoon, but it's still happening. Okay? It's still ongoing. I have never seen anything like this. I've been putting this information out now for over 4 years. 4 years. This is the heaviest magma that I've seen coming into this volcano since it last erupted. What do you think? Do you think it could erupt? Do you think that there's a problem here? Do you think we have a problem here? Houston, we have a problem. University of Washington at Seattle, we have a problem here. USGS, we have a problem here. We have 3 volcanoes that are showing active signs of a possible eruption. 2 of them very active, Mount Rainier and Mount St. Helens. You can't deny it. This is very intense magma coming into this volcano. One of the most intense scenes that I've seen. I've shown you the main seismograms, East Dome and September Lobe. I've shown you the magma reports. This is serious. This is serious, guys. It's go time. It's go time. I want to show you Sisters Volcano. Let me show you Sisters Volcano. This is the USGS seismograph. Up at the top of it, see a pretty much active volcano here. This started at 9 p.m. last night, and it went on for hours. Then they turned down the electronics on the machine. It got quiet, relatively quiet for a long time, many hours. Then what happened this morning? They turned it back up. All kinds of activity here now. Look at these lines here. Look at the horizontal lines. Occupying a lot of territory here. Magma is coming into this volcano. Look at 2:15 p.m. 15 hours. For about an hour and a half, Mount St. Helens was blowing out the magma. Mount St. Helens is blowing out the magma, guys. You can't deny it. Look at the earthquakes that are going on as well. Not just during the time of all that magma, but look at the rest of the seismograph. Plenty of activity. Plenty of activity, guys. Look at this. Anybody with any kind of experience at all would say that's a lot of activity. This is Sisters Volcano. It's actually 3 volcanoes. Sisters North, Sisters Central, and Sisters South. A lot of activity at that volcano. A lot of these volcanoes are going, guys. They're going. Let me show you something unusual today I found when putting together this program for you today. Look what I found at Mount Bachelor Volcano. For years now, the USGS and the Pacific Northwest Seismic Network had turned the channel off. They turned the seismograph off at Mount Bachelor. Look what I found today. It's back. It's back. This is actually a very active Mount Bachelor. The code name for Mount Bachelor is Moon. M-O-O-N. Mary Ocean Ocean Nancy. Okay? Look at this. For the first time in years, they had this thing turned down where it wasn't registering anything. Now it's registering all this seismic information as well as earthquakes. This is what it was looking like 3 years ago before they turned it down. Okay? That's what it looked like 3 years ago. That's what it looks like now. It's moving. Should you be concerned? Anybody living in this region should be concerned. We've shown you Mount Baker to the north, up by the Canadian border. It's steaming, and a large amount of magma is inside and inbound into that volcano. We've shown you Rainier. We've shown you now St. Helens. We've shown you Bachelor. We've shown you Sisters Volcano. Let's go south central Oregon. Let's go over to south central Oregon to Crater Lake. Crater Lake is also very active, guys. Crater Lake is also very active. Look at this. This is the USGS seismogram. Look at that. This is the south central seismograph at Crater Lake. It's called Bunkhouse. CLBH. CLBH. Look at the activity. We haven't seen this kind of activity ever at the bunkhouse. Usually they've turned it way down. Look at this activity this afternoon. Let me enlarge this for you here. Look at that. We've gotten some good-sized earthquakes at Crater Lake now. Look at that earthquake here at Crater Lake today. This seismograph has been turned way down. Yet we get an earthquake like this. Folks, this is probably a 4.0, 4.5 earthquake at Crater Lake. Look at these other earthquakes as well. 2.3, 2.5 earthquakes and tremors as well. Crater Lake. We haven't seen this kind of seismic activity at the bunkhouse seismogram ever. Ever, guys. Never happened. Let's show you Crater Lake, Cleetwood Cove. Right here. They had it turned down here for a while today. All was shown was some minor magma activity coming into the volcano here. Thicker lines, thinner going thicker, and the thicker going thinner. Okay? Magma pulse activity. But the seismograph has been turned way down. Look what happens when they turn up the activity here. This morning throughout this entire afternoon. That's a lot of magma pouring into these volcanoes, guys. That is a heck of a lot of magma pouring into the volcanoes. As I've told you about Hawaii, okay, we talked about Hawaii for a little while yesterday. I showed you the magma coming into the volcanoes there and all the earthquakes happening around those volcanoes. Magma is coming up from the deep magma plume deep in the Pacific Ocean. It's going to all the volcanoes. This is the most activity we've seen at the Pacific Northwest Seismic Network, or USGS seismograms, here in the Pacific Northwest in a great long time. A long, long time. It's been years. It's been a lot of years, guys. This is what's going on now. It's what's going on now. Is anybody even listening? Does anybody care? I'm not even showing you all the seismograms. They all show increased activity. They all show increased activity. Now, I wanted to show you Mount Shasta. They've got that sucker turned off. 4 of the seismograms at Mount Shasta are showing crap. Gobbledygook. What they call abstract. Because they can. They don't want to show us everything. But guess what? I pulled up this at Mount Lassen. Look at this. This is the LME seismogram at Mount Lassen. Okay? They can't lie about this. Look at this activity here. This is extraordinary activity at Mount Lassen. At least 3.5, 4.0 earthquakes happening at Mount Lassen caused by magma coming into that volcano. Look at that. Look at that. This was yesterday afternoon. This was yesterday afternoon. Through the night. What happened today? Look at this. Look at this. They can't deny it. All morning long, massive amounts of magma coming into the magma chamber, causing earthquakes. Causing earthquakes. This is extraordinary. This is at all of the Cascade volcanoes. No, I couldn't pull anything at Mount Shasta because they have those things turned off. This is what's happening at Lassen. I will bet you if I pulled Mammoth and Long Valley, you'd see the same thing there as well. And they're not even in the Cascade Mountain volcanoes. They're not even the Cascade Range. I'll bet you they're showing that as well. Folks, the Pacific Northwest is going to see a volcanic eruption. Probably going to be sooner than later. I hope everybody in Washington and Oregon are prepared. That's all I can say. I hope they're prepared. Because it's going to happen whether they're ready or not. I showed you Southern California yesterday. Okay? The Walnut La Puente volcano was active. I showed you what was happening down at the Salton Butte volcano, the Salton Sea. Folks, everywhere where there's a volcano, we have heavy-duty seismic activity caused by magma. Caused by magma. We've seen earthquakes all over the southern Pacific. Okay? All over the southern Pacific. We're going to have another volcano erupt in the Philippines. We're going to have several more volcanoes erupt in Indonesia. We already have them erupting. Semeru is erupting. Luotolo is getting ready to erupt again. We have like 6 volcanoes in Indonesia that are erupting. We have Popocatépetl in southeastern Mexico. Popocatépetl. We have Fuego in Guatemala. We have Nevado de Ruiz in Colombia. Down in Ecuador, we have Reventador and Sangay volcanoes, both of which have been erupting up to 20,000 feet. On Saturday, we had Kliuchevskoy on the Kamchatka Peninsula erupt Kliuchevskoy on the Kamchatka Peninsula erupted up to 46,000 feet high. Kliuchevskoy, it's done that before. Sabancay in Peru has been erupting. We have had volcanoes in Africa, in the Congo, erupt. I'm serious, guys. I'm serious. Is anybody even paying attention? Donna Howard's here in the chat just said, those seismographs are startling. I agree, they are. They are. This one at Lassen should have everybody worried. Now, maybe I shouldn't even tell you this. Maybe I shouldn't even tell you. Mount Lassen. Mount Lassen has experienced hundreds of eruptions scattered over 200 miles during the last 825,000 years. Hundreds of eruptions. The most recent 3 notable eruptions were 1,100 years ago. The cinder cone was 1666 AD. Lassen Peak erupted last in 1914 to 1917 for 3 years. It's going to erupt again. The region, the Cascade region, hosts a rigorous geothermal system. A rigorous geothermal system. Vents and mud pots all over the place. Numerous hot springs, steam vents, boiling mud pots. It's about to erupt again. It's about to erupt again. Mount Lassen is 3,187 meters high, 10,456 feet high. It throws out andesitic volcanism, magma, andesite lava. it's going to do it again. The nearby town of Mineral and Viola are going to be significantly affected. I've done my research, guys. I've done my research. Aubrey's here in the chat as well. Local news in Seattle says Mount St. Helens is getting ready to erupt, but I've never seen Rainier so hot. Either have I. I've been watching Rainier for 3 years. I've been watching all of these volcanoes for over 3 years now. I've never seen it any more ready to erupt than now. Why am I even talking to you? Number one, because I care. Because I care. Number two, your lives are dependent upon other people. I'm trying to get this information out to as many people as I possibly can. I need your help. I need your help to forward this information on to hundreds, if not thousands, of other people, because YouTube won't do it. YouTube is suppressing our channel. They're suppressing the numbers. They're suppressing the people that they are allowing to see this program. I need your help to share this information far and wide. Your family, your extended family. I need you to share it with your friends and neighbors. I need you to share it with the people you work with and your social media contacts. Share it far and wide. I opened up my TikTok channel again this morning. I will be putting it up on TikTok to get the maximum advantage of people over there. I put it up on Instagram every night. I put it on MeWe every day. I put it on Facebook every day. I'm trying to get the maximum effect here to make sure people are warned. I want to tell you, all of you now, make sure you have an emergency preparedness kit. I want to have you write an emergency preparedness plan. How many times have I said that tonight? You need to have a plan. You need to have an emergency preparedness plan. Regardless of what happens, you need to have a preparedness plan. In case something happens, you need to have a plan on how you're going to react to what's going on. We talked a lot about everything that's going on, from shootings to volcanoes to earthquakes to storms everywhere. Anything could happen. We're having snow in the Midwest, freezing snow and sleet in the Midwest. People are dying out there trying to shovel the snow in the cold. People can't handle it. Last night we had below freezing temperatures here, down to 26 degrees here in Morganton, North Carolina. It's going to get down to freezing again tonight. Tomorrow it's going to be back up to 70 degrees during the day. Go figure. Yesterday and today the temperature didn't even get out of the 50s. Tomorrow it's going to reach up to 70, possibly, and into the low 80s this weekend, and then it's going to take a nosedive again by 20 degrees. It's not going to get even out of the 60s during the day, and it's going to dive into the 30s and 40s at night. That's the way it's going all over this country, except on the West Coast, the southern West Coast. It's going to be warm. Folks, you need to take heed of what we're talking about. You need to take heed. All over this country, all over this world, you need to take heed. You need to pay attention to what we're talking about. Okay? Now, one more thing before we get out of here. One more thing. I want to show you this picture. This picture has a young man sitting on the side of a beach, contemplating who he is and why he's here. Who he is and why he's here. Folks, we all are in that same situation. Okay? In Psalms, the 37th chapter, verse 5, commit thy way unto the Lord. Trust also in him, and he shall bring it to pass. Commit thy way unto the Lord, trust in him, and he shall bring it to pass. Now is the time to commit yourself to the Lord as to what you will become during this mortal probation, during our lifetime. We came here to earth. Before we came here to earth, we lived in heaven with Heavenly Father. We told our Heavenly Father then that if we came here to this earth, we would do our darndest. We would do everything we could possibly do to try to learn about the Savior and to follow his example. Too many people have gotten in a rut. Too many people have gotten to the place where they don't care anymore. They've given up on the idea of ever returning back to heaven. All they're concerned with is either money and greed or screwing somebody else. That's what we're at. We came to this earth promising to obey the commandments and to find our way back to heaven, to find Jesus Christ and find our way back to heaven. Folks, when we leave this earth, we're going back to our Heavenly Father, at least until after the resurrection, when our spirits will be reunited with our bodies. Until then, guys, we need to do our utmost to obey the commandments, to do those things we can to help our families also return with us back to our Heavenly Father. We need to commit ourselves right now, today, to obey the covenants that we've made with our Father in heaven. Get back on the covenant path. Get back on the covenant path. That's where we need to go. I want to tell you this. I pray fervently for each one of you every day. Every day. Each one of you are in my prayers. We have prophets and apostles. We have scriptures to guide and direct us. It's up to us to listen. The Lord loves us. The Lord wants us to return to him. It's up to us to get back on the covenant path. I leave that with you, knowing what's going on. I wanted to share it with you because it means something. It means a great deal to me, and I hope it means a great deal to you. May God bless us that we might take this information we discussed tonight about the fires, the earthquakes, the volcanoes, everything going on. Let's protect each other. Let's love each other. Let's help each other do the things we need to do. Together we are a formidable force. Together we are a formidable force. We can do it. We can do it. I ask the Lord to be with you. I love and care for each and every one of you, more than you'll know. May God bless us this day. May God bless us that we might have His Spirit to guide and direct us. I pray for that every day. May God bless us and be with us. If anything else happens tonight, we'll be back here on the air to tell you about it as soon as the information becomes available. Until then, have a good night, guys. Have a good night. Love each other and protect each other. One more thing, and I forgot to mention this last night. I'll have to do some repenting. Our friend Sage Pup. He's been a friend of this program for a very long time. He's a very dear friend of mine. And many of you, he is also a friend of yours. Sage Pup is having some personal issues. And he and his girlfriend need our prayers. So, other than me, and Richard and everybody else here, pray for Sage Pup. Pray for his name. His name is Tony. Pray for Tony. God bless you all. I love you more than anything you'd ever think of. I hope you have a good night and a better tomorrow. Take care, everybody. God be with you till we meet again. We'll see you on the other side. Good night, everybody.